back to that in a second. But Genesis, what'd you do with Genesis?
So, oh man. So I mixed their first single, "Follow You, Follow Me."
You're joking.
I basically broke them, and if you want to call it, I was like, I did the record that broke them.
So come on.
Okay, so I work at Atlantic Records. So okay, so I'm going to preface this actually. There's a manager named Peter. This is what I finally put together when I figured this whole thing out. Everything's about connections, and everybody, like even like when you go into the future, you want to get a gig or something. There's always somebody sitting there going, "Nah, don't use him because we da 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 da," or "I trust him because of blah blah blah," and you don't even know it, but that's that background shit that gets you the gig or not. Which is why you try to do your best of as much as you can and respect people. You never know when they're going to pop up and be standing in your way or sticking their hand out to help you, right?
Yeah.
So the manager's name is Peter Grant.
Yeah, very famous.
Of course, there's Ahmed, of course, so I know Ahmed every day. I see Ahmed. And Ahmed, doesn't care. But so I'm going to take you back. So there was one day in the studio around lunchtime. I was there in the daytime this time. And Ahmed comes from the front, because I said the office is attacked. So like people come from meetings and then suddenly they're in the studio. So Ahmed comes in the back with Peter Grant and Jimmy Page. And he says, Ahmed walks to me, he goes, "Now remember, I'm not an engineer yet. I'm not really an engineer, but I can do the shit." As I've been saying, I can do it, but they don't acknowledge it. They're scared. So Ahmed pulls me aside and he goes, "Listen," he says, "See, I'm going to imitate his voices. Listen," and he says, so Jimmy wants to do some work. And so can you just take care of him until the real engineers come back from lunch. Okay. That's what he said to me. And nice. I was like, okay, not a problem. I can do that. So number one, I wasn't really that scared because I was so into Hendrix. Jimmy was cool. Don't get me wrong.
Right. But
okay. So I wasn't that nervous. If it was
That's
Jimi Hendrix,
funny.
I'd have been, oh my God. So he comes in, and this was so clever. He brings 10 reels of 1/4-inch tape. For those of you that don't know, it's a 1/4-inch tape. He brings 10 reels, and he sits there and he goes, I want to put together a solo. And I'm like, oh, cool. So we sat there and kind of ran through those 10 reels and found pieces and pulling pieces and snippets and bingo, boom, boom. Oh no, I don't like that bit there. Let's try another bit. And that's what we were doing, just cutting tape. And I'm doing it, and every 2 seconds, I can see Ahmed opening the door and peeking to see, oh God, I hope you're not fucking up. And me and Jimmy would be laughing our asses off because when you're doing the work with people and everything's happening good, you're laughing.
Yeah.
When it ain't cool, you ain't laughing, and it's fun. So every time we'd open the door, we're laughing our asses off because it's working. And the funny thing about that solo as well is there was one little part in the middle. We did the solo and then I cut it into Heartbreaker.
Right. So this is the solo with no band right in the middle of Heartbreaker right. Before the band comes in.
Literally, we chopped it, cut it, stuck it in there, and there it is, and there's your record.
Yeah.
But in the middle, he goes, and that little tick was a bad edit. And I said to Jimmy, I go, oh man, let me fix that. He goes, oh no, I like it. And I was like, okay, I'll leave it then. But the funnier part about that is when I go home to Great Neck, because the record came out the very next week. They didn't play around back then. It was like the record's out and all my friends got the thing and they're playing the thing and they're playing the solo and they're going, I'm going, they're playing a fucking edit. And they don't even know. Anyway, that's that story. So.
And is that the edit? It's sort of towards the end, right before the little arpeggiated bit before the band comes in?
Yeah, before he gets madness.
Yeah. Because I never noticed it as an edit before. But since hearing the story, I actually went and listened again. And yeah, it's funny. Because you don't really know. Because the whole solo is pretty nuts. I mean, it does sound like, dude, just like, what am I going to play now? All right, what about now? And, but it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So
he's in the early days of Pro Tools and he didn't even know it. I mean, he's, just editing like
yeah.
That.
All right. So and that's for Peter Grant. And Peter Grant, who is the manager in Spinal Tap, is loosely based, especially the cricket bat scene. That's based on, yeah.
So time goes on. I can't tell the timeline, but you know, life goes on. And one day, literally, we had another mix room they built, which was a little box. It was, I remember a little box it was. And I was doing something in the hall, and Ahmed comes in the hall, and I see Peter Grant with him, and Peter goes, I go, hey man, how you been? He goes, hey, how you been? And Ahmed says, listen, can you like, can you put a mix on this record for us real quickly? And I was like, okay. So I went into the fucking room. They weren't there. Nobody was there as usual. Atlantic, nobody was ever there. And I sat there and I did blah, 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 blah. Follow you, follow me, da, 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 boom. The rest is history.
So you spent what, like hour and a half on that mix? Like,
No, I spent a good
more.
2 or 3. Well, I can't tell now, but I say in retrospect, I didn't spend the whole day.
Yeah.
In a couple of hours, you know, or whatever it was. I wasn't like laborious. It wasn't laborious.
Right. Right. Amazing.